Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we will be doing a simple model here and creating a simple drawing using Inventor. Now, another video that I did just basically discussing drawings, and I do have a lot of videos where I did some stuff in Inventor. In this one we will take a look at how to finite these dimensions as well. You're going to see that the model is going to be super simple, and once we get to the drafting portion, what I'm going to try to do is just show you how you got to set up your dimension styles and stuff of that nature using Inventor. Okay, so we're just going to jump over to Inventor and get started. So here in Inventor, we will be using millimeters. So I'm just going to start off here by selecting New. We underneath the metric, and then we're going to choose the standard millimeter IPT, and we'll hit the create button, right? We'll give Inventor probably about a couple of seconds here to load up for us, and we should be ready to go here right about now. All right, so we'll start off by creating the sketch here, and I'm going to start this one on the XZ plane. Once again, it's just kind of my little OCD. I do like to have this top facing the right direction, and I just flip that with the little move handle there. I'm going to go to a rectangle, and this time we will use a 2-point center rectangle. So I'll select the center first, which is here, and then I'll kind of pull out and give a preview of my rectangle. Let's go ahead and put some basic dimensions that we need on this. So the overall distance here should be set to 80. And then we're going to have another dimension here, and this overall dimension here should be set to 50. Let's go ahead and drop our circle on the inside of here, so I'll go ahead and place a circle here. I'll take a look and see if horizontal, and I do get a horizontal line going. I'll select this center, and then the origin. Let's go ahead and put a couple of dimensions on here, so a dimension from the center to the back here, and then this has a dimension of 55. And then we'll need to type in whatever the diameter of this circle is, which will be 24. All right. Now I'll go ahead and put the fillets here as well. Usually I like to use those or make those features, but I'll go ahead and use it here. So fillet 15. And one of the hardest things that you had to try to trick your brain from not doing is going ahead and selecting the enter button as you would do in AutoCAD. Here, once you invoke it, just go ahead and start selecting your lines. Now this is all I need to do for this sketch. So I'll go ahead and finish this. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We're going to go to the extrude command. It should pick that profile. We're going to send it, let's send it going downward, a distance of 10. Go ahead and hit OK. Select the top face here, and then select the icon with the green plus. Let's rotate this back around again. Let's go ahead and project in some geometry. So we'll go to project in geometry. We'll select those three lines, and I know you can barely see them, but those are going to be the green lines that I do have selected there. Next, I'll go to the offset command. I'll give it a distance of 10. So I'll select these lines here. You can see as I'm dragging this in, it's going to grab those lines to offset. We can go ahead and type in 10 as we're pulling it to the inside, and you can see that now all of those lines are set to 10. Let's go ahead and put a line across here. We use the trim command. All right, so now here's some of the things I don't like about it. So you can see that it only retained just this 10 here, right? So I have to come back now and either make these equal to each other to maintain that 10. I'll also put I think they are collinear. Let me grab one of them. Nope, they're not collinear. Oh, it did move. Okay, so we do have a collinear effect that's happening there. We need to put a dimension here on the back side. And that's going to be a distance of 10. And let's see. Oh, I need one more dimension here, which is going to be the dimension from here going to here, which should be set to 40. Oh, it looks like the collinear did not apply to it. Let's see. So I'll go to collinear, Select that line and then that line. That puts them together. And for some strange reason, I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, so that line is not horizontal. Let's go ahead and make it horizontal. All right, so it is fully constrained. Everything is happy. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. Extrude. It should automatically find the profile that I want. I need to give it a height. In our case, this number should be 25. Let's go ahead and hit the OK button. And as you can see, the model phase of this is done. Relatively simple, quick, and easy. Let's go ahead and save this. I'm just going to use the Control S button. And now I'm going to go ahead and save this in this file. And this is going to be called example 2. All right, and go ahead and hit save. Now, this is the same thing that you're going to see in SolidWorks, is that when you save these, you have to create a separate parts file, and then you separate or create the drawing file. And that's what I'll do next here. So I'll select the new icon, scroll down to ANSI millimeter IDW. Let's go ahead and create this. Once again, we're going to give it a couple of seconds for it to load up. This is kind of, a relatively simple and quick drawing. By default, it's bringing in a D size. Remember that we can change that by selecting the sheet size here. Do a right click on it, go to edit sheet, and then change this to a B size. Once I change this to a B size, any drawings after this will come in as a B size, right? So we kind of change the default when we do that. Let's go ahead and delete the title block here. Then we'll go ahead and bring in a view. All right, let's go ahead and move this out the way. You can see that I'm bringing in the front view. You can alter this, so if this was a different orientation, you can select here and you can change how you want it to appear for as your first view. But this is the actual correct view that I want to use. Let's see if we can make it just a hair bigger. And you can see that's a 2:1. I'm going to customize this a little bit. So I'll make it a 1.5. All right. And I accidentally hit enter, and that was one of the things that it did, and it okayed it. Now let's go ahead and project any other views. So I'll go to projected, select here. I'll create a view here, here, and then my isometric here in the corner. Do a right click and tell it to create all of those. All right, so you can see here by default the tangent lines are turned off. You can turn those on, and let's see, if I select here and then go to display option, you can see that I can turn those tangent edges on. So if that's something that you want to appear, you do have the option of turning those on there. On this view, let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. So we're going to make it a 1:1, and we're going to also make it shaded, and just so we keep it just a hair smaller. All right, let's go ahead and put our center marks on here. So I'm going to switch to the annotation tab. I'll go ahead and put my center lines on here. And I have a few bisecting lines that's got to go here and here as well. Okay, so there's all of my center marks on here. And now we're ready to do the dimensioning, right? So we'll go to the dimension, select this line here, and I'm just going to leave these dimensions alone right now. We'll come back and edit them later. So I want to do it all at the same time. Now this one I will change now. And another thing I also forgot to ask or tell you about is when I'm putting these dimensions on, you may be getting another dialog box that appears. So let's go ahead and double click and edit one of these. The reason why I'm not getting them is because I don't have this box here checked. So if this box is checked, every time you create a dimension, this box is going to appear, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if I do this and I hit OK, now when I create a dimension, let's kind of zoom in. I'm going to move this dimension up just a hair. And when I put a dimension now, so from this line to this center, and I come down and I place this dimension, this dialog box is going to appear. Sometimes in my case, that kind of slows me down. So what I usually do is I'll uncheck this box here. And then that allows me just to kind of, go through hyperspeed as far as creating these dimensions, right? So I can go ahead and do them a lot quicker if I don't have that box open slowing me down. But it's more or less a preference option for you. I accidentally selected the midpoint of that. There we go. Let's go ahead and do the radius here. Once again, you have to try to stay away from sometimes those midpoints and things of that nature that will come and appear. go ahead and create these dimensions here. Now remember, I might want this 50 to, or my 10s to go to the outside. So remember, in this program, it's going to be the first line you select and then the second one, and then it'll swing that to the outside. So therefore, first one here, second one here, swing it to the outside. And then finally, I have a dimension here to here and click here. Okay, so all of our dimensioning for this drawing is done, but we need to go ahead and format this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to the Manage tab, and then I'll select the Style Editor. And when you select on this, you got to kind of be patient. And once again, this is one of those speed things, but you're going to have to give Inventor a little bit of chance just to open up this dialog box that's going to come and appear here in a second. Right? So while we're waiting on that, I do want to say thank you for coming back to my channel and watching these videos, as it really does help me and support me to keep making more. Okay, so once this dialog box does appear, you can see that underneath my dimension, I'm going to use the default millimeters, right? So that's going to be my default one. I'll show you how you can tell which one is going to be your default here after I close this dialog box. But what we need to do is first say, hey, do we want to show those trailing zeros or not? This is opposite of AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, we check the box to hide them. In this box, we uncheck them in order to hide them. So I'm just going to uncheck it here. And then I'll go over to the Text tab, and I like all of my dimensions to be horizontal. So you can see that underneath my linear, they'll be horizontal. If this is an aligned dimension, I want to make it horizontal. And if it's a vertical dimension, I want to make that horizontal. So that'll take care of all three of the options that we need. I'll hit the Save and Close, and all of these should update, right? As far as showing you where the dimension style would be, let's go ahead and click back on Annotation. And when I go to Dimension, you're going to see here it's going to appear by style, right? So by default, if I'm in the millimeters, the standard is here. This is by the style because that's what I chose. Now I can change which standard I want by selecting it here, but by default, if I go ahead and I create a dimension from here to here, and I go to place that dimension, it's going to be on that standard style, which in our case is the millimeter one, right? So, but if I was using the inches by default, it will select the inches. All right, so I have this dimension selected, and here's the other way of where you can see it. If I select it, you're going to see that when I select here, it's going to say by standard, default, millimeter, ANSI. So that's going to be your way of knowing which one of those styles or which one of those that you want to change or edit or whatever you want to do to it. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. Let's give this drawing one quick look over, and I think we are done. So hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for coming back and tuning in. And as always, keep drafting, and I will see you in the next video.